We did an MOT on the CRX. Unfortunately, it's failed. It's failed on the steering rack gaiter. So bought one of them. Suspension ball joint. It's got excessively worn. And then two of the minors, which are coil spring corroded. Not going to do anything about that. And rear brake discs, we know about that. That's okay. So let's get on with it. Jack the car up. There's an axle stand underneath there. The jack's going to remain there just for support. I've cracked off this 32mm hub nut here. Seen better days, but I think I've got some spares that I'll put on instead. And then obviously you cracked off the wheels as well. And then let's see what we're working with. I've taken the two 17mm that hold the caliper hanger in. And I'm just going to use this jimmy to just pull that away from there. Got a bit of this as well. Bit of that. So that's off there. And I've got this little bungee just in place there. And that's just so you don't put a load of stress on the whole thing. So that's nice. And then what I want to do is I'm trying to take this whole arm off because I need to lower the ball joint. So the next thing will be is I'm going to take off these two 10mm. I'm going to try to knock this upper ball joint down, and I'll do that first. Right, so take the little clip out and then undo this. Whoa, it's loose! The only thing holding that on was that little split pin. Crazy. Right, I'm going to just loosen this. Oh, that was a bit easy. But you see that's out of there now. And then I've got this arm here. I just need to take off the, I think it's a 14, probably a 17. Take that and then take this out. But before I do any of that, I'm going to try and slacken off this track rod end because I need to take out this gaiter, and this is why it fails the MOT, because it's all split, you see. So here we have a 19 and a 22, and I've soaked it in a bit of WD-40, and I'm hoping that I can just get that on there like that. I'm hoping this will just undo a bit. But what you don't want to do is stress out this this ball joint end there. You want to just try and brace it with the 19. Get in the centre of it. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. So in the end, that was my setup. So I've got these little crow's feet thing. Those little spanners, comes in a set like this. I've got my 19 and 22 on that. It gives me a bit more leverage. And then now that's actually deciding to spin a bit. So I only wanted to take a little bit off it because basically you don't want to lose your position. So now I'm going to leave that where it is, and then I'm only going to unwind this away from it, and then I'm going to count the number of threads so I can know where I am. So next thing is taking off this, which is the track rod end, and I believe that's going to be a 17. Yep. And the reason why you want to do that first is because if you get down to the last few threads, sometimes they can stick, so you're kind of better off going the whole way down, and then you can just simply tap here. So after a few whacks here, eventually it comes loose. And the reason why it comes loose is it's a tapered joint there. So that's why the shocks release it from there, and then it will come up. Leave this nut where it is, and you can just wind off the actual arm. And you see there's no copper grease in it. I'll put some copper grease when I wind it back. But the important thing is that I actually count the number of threads now to the nut, and then I can take that nut off, safe knowledge that I know where the nut was. So I've just whizzed this 22mm nut off here, and I've just undone the 7mm clip, so that's good to come. And then there'll be one which is in there as well, which will be another clip. So take that off and I should be able to slide this whole boot off. Now both those clips, one was had to cut the clip off this thing, and one was just this little kind of, there we go, that's why that was failed. There's the new Gaiter in there. I actually did a funky thing. I've got this here, so that's measuring how many threads I was in. But it will become quite apparent when it becomes hard to wind it any further because there's so much rust on this car. So that's in there like that. And that should be perfect, like that. So the track rod end is done up by holding it with the 90mm and doing it up with the 22mm crow's feet. So they're both done. So there's only a couple of things remaining to take this hub out of there, because obviously I've got that nut out of there, I've got the arm out the back, I've got the top ball joint out. I just need to take these two 10mm off here. This just holds the brake line to the hub. So that's 1, 2, and then the final one is this lower ball joint, which is going to be a 19. The 19mm at the bottom here. So there we go. So that's out there. And we should be able just to hit this again with a hammer here. Yep. So after some sledging that side and then rotating around and sledging the other side at the bottom, the thing's actually been released. There we go. There it is. And just pop the dry shaft out the middle. Probably should have checked that was in the mood to be coming out first, but the way of getting these out, the drive shaft when they're stuck, is you get the 32mm socket, put it back on there, get your 32mm on a sacrificial, see how many times that's been smacked on there, and then you just basically just club it backwards, and what you see here is actually the drive shaft's managed to come out now. At least it's backed off, so we can just tap that the whole way. See, it's a little bit tight, but it's happy to come now, and that's how you do it. And the reason why I put a nut on there is to save all the threads. You don't want to smash all your threads up, and what you definitely don't want to do is you don't want to mushroom this, because then you won't be able to get a nut on it afterwards. And now that's done, that's out of there like that. This is out of there like that. There we go. Okay, that's the hub off. This is the fending ball joint. So now it's quite simple, go over to the vise and get set up. So these need to come out. I've got my impact set to left as well, that's important. So you take the slop out of it, then it's come straight out. Nice. Check it's still on left, yeah. And then cut that. Ah, there we go. It's loose. So with those two out, I'll put some new ones in. Got a load of new ones. So that's just the little spigot ring, and then we can come up here, and I think it's just habit, but depends on how you've got your setup. But I usually just use the ear to the brake. So this is one of the most useful tools that you can have, an impact driver, and what it does is you can set it to do and undo. Most of the time you use it to undo, but and you see here it's got two different settings. So that's for going right, this is for going left, so to undo. And what happens is you load it up, but then as you hit it with the hammer, it not only pushes in with the blade of the screwdriver, but it also just does a minute turn. So you can actually just shock it, the screw off, and that works really, really nicely for these little screws, because what happens is eventually they get knackered. You can see it started to get knackered, but that, because it pushes so hard into the actual head of the screw, you're less like just to round the head off, because the next process after that is drilling it out, and that's a real pain. So these are the external circlip pliers. And what I'm going to do is come in here, and you've got to get the circlip up first, There's one side, and sometimes the other side is rusted in. So what I'll do now is get a flathead screwdriver. See, this side is moving. We just saw that. You can see it's moving. This side isn't because it's rusted. So what you do, see it's moving a bit now. Okay, and then once that's moving, you should be able to. It's a bit stiff. There we go. It's just working out. This could indeed snap. That quite often happens. So what I'm going to do is just try and punt it round a little bit more. So it should be able to get it spinning. There you go. Do you see it turned? So now it's turned, it should be willing to come out because there's no. There we go. There's no rust holding it on. Seems like I'm taking it out in stages here. Go on. There we go. There it is, and that just gets rusty as hell. I actually tend to keep them because I'm a hoarder. And then now what you want to do is you want to take off this whole seal. So just get some bullnose pliers out. If I've got some, yeah. So come in here, just rip that out, right out there, and then what we can do is get the socket, and we want it to be sitting straight on there. Just move that out of the way a bit, straight on top of there, and then we'll just whack it down. Got my long 27, but use whatever comes down there and sits on there like that. My drive-through inner vise. Just try and there's the hole that this new ball joint's going in. I've given it clean up with the little wire brush. Give it a little bit of brake clean, cleaning the old stuff off. Then we'll get a rag. This is the ball joint. Try and get you a part number, but Starline it is. Can I see the box anywhere? Yes. This is the box. That's the part number. It's just the cheapo one because he's going to bigger brakes anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And either way, there's a bit of copper slip around there, or there will be. And then you just basically, you just got to turn this up the other way around and pop it in by hammering down on it, and I'll show you the full setup. Right, copper slips on. This is the ball joint. Obviously with the nut, you just leave that in place, and then just popsy that in there. Like that, and then you need a socket that goes over the top. Let's try a few different ones, not that one. It's 32. 32 will be nice. So I'm going to get the 32 on, and I use this sacrificial long bar that goes on top of it, and then just hammer it down. I'll show you what looks like it's going in. There were a couple of hits in. That's the bar I'm hitting on, club hammer. And it's just going in nicely like that. Alright, that's the whole way home. You know it's the whole way home because that little groove there becomes visible, and that's where you want to put your circlip. So I'll turn it back round and show you that. Here's the circlip and here's the circuit pliers. So you put it on there, and then just with two hands just kind of walk it down and put it into that groove. So I walked it to a certain point and then just used the flat of a screwdriver down the back on the flat there, still opening it with these. And then you can place it wherever you want, but you know, as long as it's kind of out the way, so something like that would be probably okay. But you see it's sitting the whole way in that groove, which is exactly what you want. And that's that. So now you can basically just place it back on the car and get the ball joint in and the drive shaft in first. Now's a good time to check you haven't done anything bad to this little metal splash guard. Take off that nut. The kit comes with a little split pin, and then just basically push the spline through here at the same time get the ball joint in there. I'll probably put a little bit of copper slip in that area as well, just to make sure it all comes out nicely if I need to take it apart next time. Now don't forget to put this rig in, just like that. So went in with the rubber hammer, and that's not coming loose. Getting the drive shaft through there. Thing is, this nut is a bit seen better days, so I'm going to see if I can find another one. I think I've got another one somewhere. But then just place this up in here again. I'll probably put a bit of copper slip on this top ball joint as well. Push that through there and just do everything up. Done up with a 17. Obviously I need to put the new split pin through there. Under here is a 19. Put the split pin through that. One there. Now they've been tightened up. And then it's just a matter of putting the brake caliper back on. Let's get another hub nut. Do that next. And that's it. This drive shaft nut has seen better days, so I found a new one. So just put that on there like that. And tighten that up. First of all, I'm going to do this up to 55 Newton meters with my torque wrench, and then put the split pin through. This is the lower ball joint of the car-sighted nut. This upper ball joint, which is a 17mm, is 44 Newton meters. I'll do that up and put a split pin. That's the split pin in there, split pin and the lower ball joint as well. And then you just got this little cover which goes over the top. Then we've got this hub nut, that isn't done up yet. That's a 32mm. And I'm going to wait till I've got the car on the deck before I can do that with the wheel on. Then we go to the brake caliper, which is pretty much the last thing I've got to do now, is place that on there. So I'll do that with the bolts I've got there. There's two caliper bolts, one there and one below. I don't think any of you on that one. There where my finger is. And they need to be both done up to 78 Newton meters, and that's on a 17mm socket. Nut at the bottom here, and that needs to be done up to 44 Newton meters. Like the hub nut wants 185 Newton meters, and then finally the wheel nut's 110 Newton meters and 19mm. Good try by legit, guys. It's not to have been touched for a while, which I've got to say I probably prefer. And then I'm just going to take this off here, see what we've got. Spider's nest. That bolt seems like it hasn't moved in a long old time. That's all tight. I just mainly just want to check what we're working with here. And this bolt joint under here, some kind of shoddy job of that. Stuff like that just really doesn't inspire confidence. I'm just going to quickly spin check all of these bolts. In the end I did that up to 44 Newton meters. That's 55 Newton meters. And don't even get me started on what on earth's gone on here. Why is there two nuts on there? Anyway, it's past the MOT like that. I'm going to get another one of these, and I just cannot understand. Anyone understand that? Two nuts? Who knows? Anyway, let's put the split pin through there and put the wheel back on, try and get an MOT.